We're on team 2, problem 1. Who is the spokesperson? All right, fire away.
Seller's asking $90,000 cash for the house, and it's worth $100,000.
Okay.
And it's in great shape. It's got 2 loans that are non-assumable for a total of $72,000. The payment's $850 a month.
All right.
It's owner occupied, and the owner's got to get out in 30 days.
Okay.
Okay, well, here's the consensus of what we came up with. We had 2 plans. One plan was a lease option, $80,000.
Lease option.
Mm-hmm.
80,000.
80,000.
80,000.
80,000.
Oh, okay. So you're going to give the seller $8,000
When we buy it.
when you buy it.
Right.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that for a second because I didn't cover that in this class yet.
Okay.
Are you going to lease option it for $80,000, or are you going to lease option it for $8,000 plus the mortgage balance at the time of the purchase?
We're going to actually $8,000 to the loan.
Okay. So you're going to lease option it for $8,000 plus the mortgage balance at the time of the sale. What's the difference?
Within the year, the balance will be less on it. On
The
on
principal
72.
pay down that is happening while you're in control, you get to take advantage of if you structure the deal that you're really paying the seller $8,000 plus the loan balance at the time of the sale, rather than paying the seller $80,000. If you pay the seller $80,000 and the loan gets paid down to $71,000, the seller's going to get $9,000, aren't they? If you pay him $8,000 plus the loan balance, the seller will get $79,000, and you will get to keep the other $1,000 bucks. All right.
Okay. Then we're going to try to get the on the $850 payment. We're going to try to get the old boy to kick in $100 a month, and we commit to paying $750 a month.
Did you get any resistance out of that when you're talking about that?
A whole lot.
A whole lot. Okay. This is one of them tough ones. You know why?
Well, the guy's got to go in 30 days.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
And so, does he want to keep feeding that gator $850 a month, or does he want to feed it just $100 a month? That's where we were coming from on
And
it.
only he can answer that, huh?
Yeah.
Only he can answer that.
Right.
But then you have to ask yourself, my goodness, since there ain't but $100 difference between what he's paying and what I want to pay him, shouldn't I just go ahead and pay him the whole $850? You know? Tough one, ain't it?
Yeah.
Okay. What did the seller say when you asked him?
Well, he said he'd prefer us to make that whole $850.
What a surprise, huh? Okay. All right. So that's your offer.
Is that what we talked about? That's what we talked about.
Whether he takes $850 or $750, it's not a deal killer either way in this case, is it?
Right. That's what we felt.
Okay. All right. That's your offer.
That's the deal.
What's your back door?
Okay, here's how we were going to try to market it on a lease option to somebody else.
Yep.
$105,000 was going to be our sale price.
$105,000 they're going to sell it for.
Right. In the example, it's saying that the house is worth $100,000, so we're going to try to bump it up $5,000.
ARV stands for after repaired value. ARV, that's the value of the house. If we had it appraised, that is. Of course, the true value of the house is determined by myself and my buyer, isn't it?
Now, being a $100,000 house, going by what they're saying here of it being in good shape, excellent condition, we felt like $950 is what it would bring on the just regular rental
so you're going to rent it for $950 a month.
$950 a month.
All right. Straight rent.
Right. With an obligation of $400 credit towards that sale price monthly.
Say that again.
An additional $400 a month.
You're going to try to get a $400 additional payment.
Additional payment.
Okay, you're going to try to do that. So they're going to actually be paying $1,350 a month.
Right. Now we're looking for somebody who.
What if a buyer comes along? How much down are you going to get?
$5,000.
Okay. What if a buyer comes along with the $5,000 but don't want to pay any additional per month? What are you going to do?
Well, you got to figure out what his problem is. First of all, why he's not able to.
Well, I didn't say he wasn't able to. I said he didn't want to.
Yeah, we're telling him we already assumed that he's wanting to buy this.
Okay. It's December the 11th. You've got to start making a payment January the 1st.
Well, I would say, if you can't kick in the $400, what can you kick in every month?
Good. Well, first of all, how would you have arrived at the $400 unless he gave you the number?
I'd be asking him.
Hear what I said? You ask the buyer what they can pay. You don't just arbitrarily run off at the mouth and give them a number. So you wouldn't even arrive at the $400 if the buyer hadn't give you the figure. In your mind, you'd like to get it to $400. So if the buyer says he'll pay $200, then you'll probably give him some credit to get him to $400, whatever you can. But my question to you was, what happens if the buyer cannot afford or thinks he cannot afford to pay any more than that per month? By the way, that payment will get him financed, won't it? I mean, he won't have any higher payment than that when he goes and gets a new loan. So what if he only makes $3,800 a month? And
worst case scenario, you'd probably still be okay to put him in there with $5 down if he's coming in with the $5 up front, and he's going to cover the payment every month. If that's depending on how motivated you are, of course, to get somebody in there.
Well, that's really what it depends on, doesn't it? That's what it all comes down to, doesn't it? Huh?
That's it.
How close that payment is coming behind your backyard, whether you got the money to pay it if it does creep up. Isn't that what it all comes down to?
Depending on how soon you got to make that payment.
And whether you can make it if it is coming due.
Right.
Right? So I presented that question because that's something you're going to have to toil with. Some of you will say, well, worst case scenario, January 1st will come and I'll have to pay the $950. I don't care. Some of you say, if I have to make that $950, the bankruptcy judge is going to be seeing me.
Right.
Depends on your personal situation, doesn't it?
Well, if you got $5,000 and it's in great shape, and I'd be thinking about the fact I got a $20,000 equity position, at least $20,000 that I'm trying to protect there too. So
that's true. That's true. But you're giving up the cash flow, this $400, by taking the first person that comes along with $5,000.
Right.
These are real life decisions here.
Well, we were asking ourselves the question, what the bank's going to do, and trying to come up with a number. You have to come up with a monthly so we for 1 year period. Bank, to get us qualifying, it'd be at 90% or 95%. 5% down is not going to get him there.
Yes, it is. The bank will finance him for 95%, but they'll make him pay closing costs.
Which is another 5%.
Yeah, which is
at least.
Yeah, he'll have $8,000 minimum, $10,000 maximum in total cash out to go get this property financed at the bank, which he's giving you half of at least. He ain't too far away from that. So even if you get $400 a month out of him, it ain't going to be for long, is it? Based on this. But I was trying to make you think through. If I don't get any extra a month, other than $950, do I do the deal?
I would.
I would.
If everything else was.
I got $5,000 of his money in my hand right now. I gave the seller nothing. I get at least $100 a month. Why not?
And a 20% equity position.
And I get a back end. I get, it's not an atrocious back end, but gee whiz, if I only owe 72, well, in this case you owe 90, don't you? 80. I'm sorry. I'm giving the seller 80. That's right. Selling it for 105. So I still got another $10,000 coming the day we close. Got 5. Oh, is that right?
25.
All right. I just wanted to see if you overate at lunch.
Less 5.
So hey, that's a lot of money, isn't it? I mean, you think of what you've done in the past for $20,000.
Plus, if it doesn't come through, then the next year, if you had to do it again, you could maybe jack that price up to, instead of 105, make it 107, 108, because it's a year later down the road.
I wouldn't have thought of that. Never thought of that. Okay. All right.
Okay, and
You have
then
a second offer?
yeah, the other, which is really not too creative, but if on an option, no lease option, just an option.
Just an option.
Right.
All right.
Where we're not going to let anybody in the property, then the
All right.
owner's going to keep on feeding it every
Right
month.
price?
$80,000.
$80,000. Okay. Well, there ain't nothing complicated about that. You just
No.
got to go out and retail a house to an owner occupant and get them a new loan. At which time you will make how much?
Depending on what
20
you sell it for.
20 grand. 20 grand. Because he's probably going to go option it at what it'll appraise for today. So he's probably going to make 20 grand. So you make 20 grand the hard way, or you make it the easy way. I prefer the easy way, but if it's the hard way or no way, I might choose to take the hard way.
Right.
And it very well may be that we'll convert from the option to the lease option later if the seller gets tired of making the payment. So both offers are righteous. Both offers will work, and the back door will work in both cases, and they're probably darn close to what I would have offered. Thank you.